Ramos hits one very high and very deep. Carroll at the wall, and it is out of here. And the Giants take the lead.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
All right. In an hour, your opportunity and your last opportunity to qualify for the Steph Curry autographed jersey. That is coming up in exactly 1 hour. But Dibs and I are pretty excited about this conversation. I think that there's going to be some great perspective that's about to be shared with some guys that have gotten everybody's attention here recently, and more for that matter. But Matos, Luciano, Matos back down in sack. Luciano is injured. Heliot Ramos is crushing it. And we're going to get into all of that with the Sacramento River Cats hitting coach, also a former Giant in his own right, Damon Minor. And Damon, that's the one thing. We were just looking at sort of your history as a player, and it just brought up all the feels because it's fine now because the Giants have won 3 World Series since then. But I always tell people whenever they ask me, what is the most painful moment in your life as a Bay Area sports fan? And I don't hesitate. It was the 0-2 World Series. Do you still hear thundersticks in your nightmares?
Yes, and that rally monkey is annoying.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, are you over it? Because I'm still sort of kind of not over it yet. You know what I mean?
No, it always stinks, especially when you a lot of teammates that I played with or at least played against, and a couple of them are on that team, and they always when it gets close to that that time, they always kind of post stuff on social media, and it just brings back those memories.
Ugh, Scott Spezio. God darn it. Anyway, Damon, how about this Heliot Ramos guy, right? Like, what can you tell us? What was happening last year and early this year in Sacramento versus what we're seeing now with the big club?
With Heliot, you got to look back. I think he made his triple-A debut when he was like 21. So, and then he obviously made it to the big leagues a couple years before. After that, I think in 23 was his debut, I think, or 22. I mean, and it just he was a young player, and just like every young player, when you get a taste of the big leagues, it can be a little rough and kind of shell shocked him a little bit. But Heliot's done a great job of growing up and understanding who he needs to be, and that's to be a guy that can get on base, hits all fields, and it comes down to what you swing at. And Heliot's done a really good job of understanding what he can swing at and obviously what he doesn't need to swing at. And you can tell he's laying off that high fastball now, and that's helped him get better counts and get better pitches. And give credit to Heliot. He's really, when they throw the ball in the zone, he's not missing it right now.
And how do you make that adjustment as a hitter? Because I know the strikeout rate is a little bit of a problem for Heliot Ramos, but how do you get a player to be aggressive in the zone and also at the same time cut down on the strikeouts?
I think that's the one thing. You just got to make sure that they don't get passive. That can happen where they get passive and they're not being aggressive in their zone. So I think with him, it's just he did a lot of work in this year of really training in it and understanding what he needs to swing at. So just get him on some arm mix and get him some machine where he's getting a couple different shapes that he's seeing and just being a little bit more game-like for him. And I think that's really helped him out to understand that he can still be aggressive and still understand what he's going to get. And then if he doesn't swing at a pitch out of the zone, then he's going to get what he's looking for. So you give credit to him, and that's what he's doing right now.
Damon Minor, former Giant and current hitting coach with the Sacramento River Cats. So he's working directly with a lot of the guys that we're watching come up. And I think this is great perspective. Damon, what do you see as the ceiling? Because I think Giants fans forget, because it's been a minute, this guy's a first-round draft pick 7 years ago. So what kind of ceiling do you see for him?
Every player, you kind of look at him, and he's kind of that complete player. He can play really good defense, and then he brings a lot to the table because he's a bigger kid, but he's not very tall. So he doesn't have too many. He's got those shorter arms, so he can go out there and take the ball to right field, especially like good velo. So with him, I think he can be that guy that can, play good defense, and then also if he gets comfortable where he can steal some bags because he can run a little bit. So with him, I like what he brings as a youthful player, if he continues doing what he's doing, he can be one of those everyday players.
Do you think he can be an everyday center fielder? I know he's going to be out there today in Texas. Is that where you can project him out defensively?
I think he can play a little bit of everywhere. Center field, he obviously played some center field here quite a bit, and the ball's in front of you, so the breaks are a little bit better. The corner outfield, you got to really get adjusted to. And that took some time with him, is getting adjusted, especially in right field, because the breaks are a little bit different. The ball's not straight on, so you get a better view when you're in center field. So I think that'll be a plus for him being in center field, and for him, it's kind of more of that natural feel out there for him.
Damon, let's talk Luis Matos as he comes back to you, and in a surprising way, and no doubt frustrated with being sent back down there. What is the direction? What does he need to work on?
I think with Luis, he had that really good run for 2 weeks, and it's part of the Major League Baseball is not an easy league especially when pitchers figure you out, and they can be grinding, and that's part of the as a young player, all young players go through it. You look at Jackson Holliday with the Orioles, top prospect comes up, he starts 0-11. So it's just that learning process of understanding what you're going to see the next time you go up and be prepared, just like any young player. And with Matos, he's just, he's such a strong kid when it comes to nothing really bothers him. So he knows what he needs to work on and just be ready for the next opportunity and to go up there and help the team again.
What are the adjustments you look at based on, after his hot couple of weeks and what the struggles that he saw at the major league level? What are the things specifically that you would look at as areas he need to work on?
Just by knowing him and having him for a year or so, just with him is understanding, be a little bit more patient in counts. He really is aggressive early. In counts. And I think, obviously when pitchers see that, there's so much data out there now that pitchers can, especially with the location of guys in the big leagues, they can put balls that look like they're really good, especially up in the zone. So just for him is just to understand that he can hit with 2 strikes and get back into better counts for him and understand that to get that pitch again, especially early, if you're going to be aggressive, just be conscious of aim small, miss small for him.
Former Giant Damon Minor, hitting coach, Sacramento River Cats, joining us here on Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Damon, I know you're a hitting coach, but how much of a psychologist are you? In other words, how would you describe the mental struggle for players like these 3 that we're talking about that have dealt with the up-down nature of this?
That's the thing is that most hitting coaches, especially at, the AAA level, you're more the mental coach as well. So I think it helps me be able to relate there because I've been in those shoes, going up and down and having success up in the big leagues and then coming back down and not having success. So I think that helps me be able to relate better to the player and just be able to give them, just stay positive with the player and help them just get through, especially when the tough time mentally, because most players, you don't sleep at night when you're taking 0 for 2, 0 for 4, and you start struggling. So it's more of the understand that you have a new day and you have to go out and compete and try to attack because it's definitely a chess game. You got to understand that it's in the long haul of the marathon that you got to make sure that you're not just sprinting and just understand that you have to go out there every day mentally and stay strong.
Damon, was Luis shaken when he got back to you guys?
What's that?
Was he shaken? Luis Matos, was he shaken when he got back to you guys just recently?
No, he's just been down here a couple of days. No, Luis is he's strong mentally, and for him, it's just more of understanding and get confident again and understand what he needs to work on, and that's just being himself again and just going out and playing. And just for him, he's one of those quiet kids, and he just goes out and does his business. Nothing really truly affects him when he doesn't show it. So he just get him back in there, get him comfortable again, and just be ready for the next time to go up and help the team.
What were the adjustments and the work that Casey Schmidt put in order to have such a good start to his year down in Sacramento and then make it back up to the big club?
The one thing with Casey, he likes to swing. So I think with him, going up the second time and not having the success, lining out a lot. And I think kind of give kudos to what Pat Burrell had a really good conversation with him and understanding to open up his swing, because he has a little bit of different angles where he's stepping open a little bit and not trusting himself, so he can't see the outside pitch. So just having those conversations ongoing with players till they trust themselves in the game. And he was able to open up a little bit more in his stance and get himself aligned better. So now he's working into the plate, into the ball. And that's really, really helped him. And that's part of being a young player and learning. You think you want it to happen so quick, but it does take time. But once the player understands that and sees it work in the game, and especially in the big league level, they have that confidence, and it really helps them stay committed to it and staying consistent.
Damon, so much of the Marco Luciano conversation has been about his glove and his position, but you're the hitting coach. What about that side? What do you see? What can be special about his bat?
Lucy really, really has a lot of power. He really does. But sometimes, and I figured that out, when you get to the big leagues, you can't get to your power and unless you know how to hit different pitches, use the other side of the field, don't chase. And that's what Lucy really was doing really well down here. And then obviously when he went up for a little bit before he got hurt, he wasn't chasing away. He wasn't chasing sliders out of the zone, and he was getting better pitches, and he was hitting those fastballs that were close to him. So just one of those things that he really can hit the ball the other way well, and that's what I remember talking with Bobby Bonds, was our hitting coach, is that if you're a pull hitter, if you don't learn how to use it up the other side of the field, then you're not going to get anything to pull. So with him, he really can drive the ball the other way. And once he learns how to pull the ball correctly, you got to say the sky's the limit with him.
Everyone is excited about the kids up here with the Giants, and they mainly are talking about Matos and Ramos and Luciano. But what about Hunter Bishop, who is now ascended up to AAA? What can you say to Giants fans to get them excited about Hunter Bishop?
Really happy for Hunter. He's had some injuries over his early careers now, and for him, and he's healthy now. He's I give him kudos what he's doing. He's really playing well in the outfield, and he's throwing well. And he obviously had a shoulder injury that limited him. But he's healthy now, and he's excited. And I like what he brings to the table with the bat, because he's got power. He can really run. He's a big kid. So I like the energy he brings, and he's having some success here in AAA, getting accustomed to this league. And with him, it comes down to what you swing at and what you don't swing at. So really excited to see Hunter come up here and have some success, and he's really doing well.
Damon, I want to ask you about one more guy that we got to know a little bit last year, and I know there's been injuries and things have been wobbly or whatnot, but how much have you worked with Wade Meckler, and what do you see in his future?
Wade, obviously, he's had some injuries this year. I think he had a hand injury, and he's now coming back from it. He obviously can hit. Anytime you're a player that starts out in A-ball and you make it to the big leagues in 1 year and you're hitting 350, 360 through each level, that's pretty special. And so with him, he's always battled his whole life. He's a smaller player, and he goes out and he really can hit. And that's the one thing that when he got to the big leagues, he hit for a while, and then obviously the league kind of figured him out a little bit. Just like they do with all young players. But I like the intensity he brings, and hopefully he can get back to full strength and start playing every day.
Damon, fun to catch up with you, man. Thank you so much for all of that.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me on. Always pleasure.
Okay, Damon Minor, the hitting coach at AAA. A couple interesting things that pop. First of all,